Happy Sunday afternoon, Charlotte. My name is Zach Tarleton. Once again, I'm your host for QC Quarantine Concerts. Thanks so much for joining us today. That was a little snippet of Dear Evan Hansen, and you're going to hear a little bit more Dear Evan Hansen from our special guest today, Allison Rhinehardt. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. We're going to talk for a minute, and then we're going to have some more great music. We'll chat with Children's Theater of Charlotte as well. But for now, Allison Rhinehardt, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It is such a pleasure to have you this afternoon with us. I know that, as we mentioned a few seconds ago, this is a busy, busy day for you because you are serving this morning at your church, providing the music for that live stream. You're here with us today, and then you're going to be doing Theater Charlotte's special broadcast tonight as well.
I am.
So you have a full day of performing virtually.
Which is so great since I can't perform anywhere else.
How does it feel weird to be literally sitting at home performing in front of your computer when you're used to being on stage?
I am more nervous right now in this moment than I think I have ever been. Like my husband can tell you, I want to vomit. I'm so nervous just because it's, I don't know. I can see you.
Yeah. Yes, it's very different. You could ask Jonathan. He would say the same thing from the very first one that we did. I was like, I should be at the theater. I should be like playing a score. I am like literally sitting in front of my computer in my study right now. What is this? Yeah. So definitely a weird phenomenon, but glad we have this platform. Glad we can still connect, still bring theater. I know it brings a lot of joy and means a lot to each of us that do it. So it's great to have this time to do this today. So speaking of Dear Evan Hansen, I know that this is a role you love, a song you love. I've played this song for you before in person. So it's nice that you're going to share it with us today. So if you want to say anything about it, you're welcome to. I know you love this role, this character, but I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce us to this first song.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this song is very special to me. As a mother of 4, it embodies all of the feelings that mothers have. And I've got my oldest is going to be leaving the nest soon. And so there's a lot of feelings surrounding that. So anyway, it means a lot to me. Here we go. It was a February day when your dad came by before going away. A U-Haul truck in the driveway. The day it was suddenly real. I told you not to come outside, but you saw that truck and you smiled so wide. A real live truck in your driveway. We let you sit behind the wheel. Goodbye, goodbye. Now it's just me and my little guy. And the house felt so big, and I felt so small. The house felt so big, and I felt so small. That night I tucked you into bed. I will never forget how you sat up and said, "Is there another truck coming to our driveway?" a truck that will take mommy away. And the house felt so big, and I felt so small. The house felt so big, and I knew there would be moments that I'd miss, and I knew there would be space I couldn't fill, and I knew I'd come up short a million different ways, and I did, and I do, and I will. But like that February day, I will take your hand, squeeze it tightly, and say, there's not another truck in the driveway. Your mom isn't going anywhere. Your mom is staying right here. Your mom isn't going anywhere. Your mom is staying right here, no matter what. I'll be here till it all feels so big, till it all feels so small. When it all feels so big, till it all feels so small. Till it all feels so small.
Bravo, bravo, bravo! It's so nice to hear that song, and it's weird to like not be playing it while you're singing it. That's really scary to me right now at this moment. But, and also, Allison, this is another thing that I thought of as you were singing just then. I know that for the longest time we've talked about, we're like, we are going to get together, we are going to make music, we're going to do a concert, we have this whole stuff. I never thought that our first go round of that would be over a computer in each other's houses separately. So
right, yeah.
Which, if we can do this, we can definitely make a full concert happen at some point on the other side of this. So that is going to be our goal, to get through this and to make it really happen for real this time.
For real.
So we're here today with Adam Burke. He's going to join us in just a minute. But I did want to spend just a little bit of time. Allison, I know that we've worked together on several shows. I think all of those were at Theater Charlotte. Yeah. But you also do shows all over the place, including children's theater, that we're going to talk about in a little bit. Before we bring Adam in, tell me, what do you think would be your favorite experience so far in being in a show at Children's Theater of Charlotte? What show would that be?
Well, it's probably the most special show to me, period, in my whole life. And it was The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, which Adam directed. And I think it's a favorite of his as well. It just is such a very special piece, such a special book. And for me, it's personal because my father died during the process of doing that show. And so it was very cathartic for me, because it's a show about love and loss and navigating your way through that. So that it's heavy, but that's it for me.
And with that, we will bring Adam on, because I'm sure that there's probably a lot that he could either add to that or to share about that experience, and also some other experiences at Children's Theater. Adam, welcome.
Hey, thank you. I'm welling up with tears, Allison. That was absolutely beautiful, but Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, that was pretty amazing, pretty special, and you were phenomenal in that, as was the entire cast.
Thank you.
So it was also my favorite show that I have ever directed and ever been a part of. It was a really special experience.
So Adam, I know that Children's Theater has a really long history, and that you are relatively new in that history to Children's Theater. Tell us about some of the work that you've done at Children's Theater since you've been there.
Yeah, Children's Theater does have a very long history. 73 years. They started in 1948, I believe. I've been there, I think 7 years now. I would say the thing that that I have brought with me is my love and passion for developing new work, for supporting playwrights. I have a pretty deep and substantial belief that it is our responsibility to support those people who create the work that we interpret and that we get to produce. And if we have the means, if we have the ability to support the playwrights, the composers, and those people that are creating it, then we should be doing that.
Definitely. And so I know that you've brought several premieres recently to Children's Theater, which I think is wonderful. I know that one of those in the recent past is the Best Christmas Pageant Ever musical, which it comes back again and again. I don't even know how many times I've seen it at this point. It's a wonderful production, and I know that's a great collaboration. Do you guys have any other kind of new work slated?
We do. You know, Allison, you were in that first production of Pageant. We had no intention of bringing that back the next year. You know, we did it, and we really wanted to produce that as a musical. We were approached by the composer playwright, you know, and we thought it would be amazing as a musical. There's this moment in the book when Imogene steps out on the stage, and it describes a tear rolling down her cheek. You know, and it's such a difficult moment to capture, right? But with music moves you in a way that nothing else can. So we thought, anyway, it was such an overwhelming response to that show that we brought it back. And now we've brought it back 4 times. So it's popular. People love it. I love it. But yeah, we do have a few more coming up. You know, next season, we have the 4th piece in the Kindness Project, which is Tropical Secrets, Holocaust Refugees in Cuba, which is written by Elle Feldman and based on a book of the same name. And that'll be for our oldest audience. For us, that's 8+ right now. But I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to be honest with you. We have another original musical that we have commissioned, and I'm really excited about. It's called The Magician's Secret. It was slated for next season, but unfortunately, we are going to postpone that due to coronavirus and the financial issues that kind of the world is seeing right now. But we look forward to producing that in our following season.
Awesome. And we will look forward to being there to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned kind of the response to the coronavirus. I know that you guys at Children's Theater have kind of taken your costume shop and transformed that in a really cool way. Tell us a little bit about that. Yeah,
you know, we talked with our costume shop early on and said, you know, it's looking like we are going to be working from home. And so they proactively really packed up the shop and they all took it home with them in an effort to be able to work, because at that point we anticipated, as did everybody else, that we'd be back in a few weeks. Yep. So we're like, well, we gotta, you know, we're about to go into tech for our final show of the season, Dragons Love Tacos. We got to keep moving forward. Well, that all changed pretty quickly for us. But, you know, because we had this opportunity and, you know, we've made a commitment, at least thus far, it's really important to us that we're not laying off any of our full-time staff. And so we are trying to find ways to be responsive and to I guess, pivot during this time. And kudos to Stephen Levine, our production manager, as well as our whole costume shop staff. Bina, Magda, Colette, they launched into creating masks. You know, we did some work on the back end to find a place that might be able to use them. So we've connected with a hospital locally, and they have been just making masks to help support our community. And we've also had support from one of our designers next year who's volunteered her time. Beth Chapman has been also pitching in and helping us out.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to show just the community support, that it goes beyond just the physical walls of the theater, and how we can reach out as a community and as a theater company to really just go outside those boundaries, break them down. They don't exist, and that how we can really help each other through all these times. And I think that's a really awesome thing that you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Allison, before we let Adam go and move on to some of your other music, I do want to talk about one show in particular, and this is very selfish of me and spurring this on you at the last minute, but I cannot help from some of your videos that you would put up of you backstage in Madagascar. Which like a funny show, especially, you know, just like it has a great underlying message, like all these, you know, children's shows do. They're all teaching us a lesson. But I will never forget some of your videos in that show of you running around at all the places you appear as a penguin. And I think unique experiences.
Madagascar, while Edward Tulane is the most special show to me that I've ever done, I think Madagascar might be the most fun show I've ever done. It was a really, really fun cast. And it's just a fun, silly show. And I was one of the penguins. I was the skipper. And Michelle Long, who directed it, had this great idea to put us on Heelys to look like we were, you know, skating.
Yeah.
And so that was just right there, that with me, they're not made for people in their 40s. They're made for children. But yeah, and then our amazing technical crew built this. We had a track under the stage. We had this really cool space that went all the way under the stage. We had trap doors that we popped in and out of. Yeah. We climbed ladders and popped out over the audience. But I was in the best shape of my life during that show because we were constantly running and skating in those Heelys. It was
that backstage video, though, was phenomenal of you guys moving from one side of the stage to the other.
I did ask our stage manager if we could do that.
I think that just goes to show just the type of work that a theater like Children's Theater can do. It can be lighthearted. It can be fun for the whole family. It can really take us to those places that challenge us emotionally to really think and just really delve into those inner feelings that we have. So congrats on all the work you guys have done. We look forward to seeing what next season brings. And Adam, we'll pop back in with you at the very end, but thanks for spending a little bit of time with us this afternoon.
Thanks, Zach. This is great. Appreciate it.
So Allison, there's a couple more stuff that you're going to sing for us. Before we do that, though, I have to pop over here because it looks like there's some love here for Madagascar that's coming across here. And then I know that Lucienne is watching, and I know that there's probably a lot of other great stories that are out there that we could share if we had more time. But for now, you're going to take us back with another show that I know you love. Those of you out there, if you know Allison Rhinehardt, you know that she is obsessed with Come From Away. If I'm sure this is a dream role. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So you're going to take it away with some Me in the Sky. I don't know that it needs much more of an introduction from that.
We'll give it a go.
Take it away.
Thank you. My parents must have thought they had a crazy kid, 'cause I was one of those kids who always knew what I wanted. They took me down to the airport to see all the planes departing, watching them fly. Something inside of me was starting. I was 8 when I told them that I'd be a pilot. But I was too young and too short, and there were no female captains. And my dad said, "Be patient," he said, "just see what happens." But I took my first lesson, came down from the sky, told my father I'd fly for the rest of my life. And I got my first job flying for a mortician in a tiny bonanza, just a corpse and me. $5 an hour for flying dead bodies. I had to climb over their faces just to get to my seat. And suddenly the wheels lift off. The ground is falling backwards. I am suddenly alive. Suddenly I'm in the cockpit. Suddenly everything's changed. Suddenly I'm not too young or too short, and the passengers in the back don't complain. Suddenly I'm flying company charters. Suddenly everything's high. Suddenly there's nothing in between me and the sky. American Airlines had the prettiest planes. So I applied as a flight engineer. But the World War II pilots, they all complained. They said girls shouldn't be in the cockpit. Hey lady, hey baby, hey, why don't you grab us a drink? And the flight attendants weren't my friends back then. And they said, are you better than us, do you think? But I kept getting hired, and the World War II crew, they retired, and the girls all thought much higher of me. 1986, the first female American captain in history. Suddenly I'm in the cockpit. Suddenly I've got my wings. Suddenly all of those pilots protesting me, well, they can get their own drinks. Suddenly there's no one saying stay grounded, looking down, passing them by. Suddenly there's nothing in between me and the sky. Suddenly I've got an all-female crew. The news taught and made headlines across the world. Suddenly it stopped. No one's saying you can't or you won't or you know you're not anything because you're a girl. Suddenly I'm getting married and we're putting pins on a map where we've flown. Suddenly I am a mother and suddenly shocked at how much they've grown. Suddenly I'm wondering how my parents would feel seeing me teaching men to be pilots. 'Cause suddenly I am a senior instructor and somehow I'm 51. Suddenly I'm flying Paris to Dallas, across the Atlantic and feeling calm. When suddenly someone on air-to-air traffic says at 8:46 there's been a terrorist action. And the one thing I loved more than anything was used as the bomb. Suddenly I'm in a hotel. Suddenly something has died. Suddenly there's something in between me and the sky.
Well done, Allison.
Thank you.
That is a personal favorite of mine. I know it's a personal favorite of some people that are out here watching. I got to put up some of these comments. Marvin, it was great having you on here last night. Yes, what a great, great, great show. And then from our friend Lizzie Medlin, who's going to be on later this week, I think Lizzie speaks for a lot of us. If we could be Allison when we grew up, that would be pretty awesome. And I know that's going to make you turn bright red right now, so I will bring that down and I won't put any more of those up. You can go look at the comments when we're done. They'll all be on the video on Facebook and YouTube. So I think that, some of these shows that you're singing from today, including the one coming up, I think are number one. They're all personal favorite shows of mine. They're incredible, incredible scores. They also have a great message for kind of this time right now that we're going through, that, there is good in all of us. There's good in the world, and how it, unfortunate is that it takes sometimes like this, like we're going through now, that really just brings out something in people that really just helps us stick together and become a community. And I think that's something that's so wonderful just about theater in general. I know that Keston said it really well last night, that for a lot of us, theater is a coping mechanism. Yeah. It really is somewhere we can turn to when we don't know where else to go. And I think that's a pretty powerful thing. I know you mentioned that as far as the show in children's theater and just, what was going on in your life at that time, and how, that show was there for you in a way, and able to kind of to tell that story. What are some, from all your roles in Charlotte, and I know you did a lot of theater before you came to Charlotte, but if you could pick kind of top three projects you've worked on in Charlotte, what would some of those projects be?
I would say Mary Poppins, both times. I got to do it with CPCC, and then I got to do it with Children's Theater as well. Peter Pan that I just did at Children's Theater last season. And I loved Spring Awakening at Theater Charlotte. That was a really special piece as well. Coming of age story. It's beautiful.
And that was such a great opportunity to work with you once again.
Yep.
It was, again, interesting, though, because that was even though it was a musical, a show that you and Dennis did not even really sing in, except for a tiny piece of that final number.
The final number and backstage.
Backstage all the time. That never counts. Backstage, we're always singing. Even I was singing backstage, which no one needed to hear.
Do you remember the time that I was doing Part of Your World backstage and my mic was still on and it fed out?
Yes. And we all got to hear that right at the end.
The whole audience got to hear Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid.
Speaking of that show, Jonathan is reminding me from upstairs watching that that's what we were doing 2 years ago today. So funny how the internet can remind us of those milestones that we hit as we go on. One thing I want to bring up before we keep moving on, I meant to put this up earlier, but a little shout out for Children's Theater. Please go to their website, check out all the work that they're doing. One thing I think that's really cool with all these theater companies, even though we aren't physically performing right now, we're not physically at the theater, we all still have a presence. And so they're still out there. There's still stuff on their website. There's still resources. There's things that we can connect to. There's still ways we can be involved. So visit their website, check them out. Another thing I want to mention, I know I mentioned it earlier, Allison, you're doing a reading tonight for Theater Charlotte.
I am.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that so that after we tune in now, we can catch that tonight?
Sure. It's at 7:30.
Yep.
I think 7:30 tonight. The play is Outward Bound. The movie came out in 1930, I think, and then it was remade as Between Two Worlds in 1944. It's a great movie that you can find on a streaming platform. It's a really intriguing story. It's I don't want to give too much away, but it's just a mystery and it's a great story. So, and it's a phenomenal cast. We've got Jill Blady and Dennis Delamar and Johnny Hohenstein and Morgan Wakefield and just a Hank West. And I'm forgetting everybody, but it's a really fun cast. So, and we'll just be like this, just like chilling at our houses.
Yep. So I am not involved in that project. So I will get to be the one that is just like sitting watching from my computer on my porch tonight. So definitely 7:30 tonight. Feel free to check that out. It's going to be live streamed. Theater Charlotte has all that information on their Facebook as well. So go check that out. Another cool thing that came out today, and Allison, I'm sure you probably also saw this from the Blumenthal, is that they have announced their 2021 Broadway Light season, which is super, super awesome. If you haven't gotten your email yet, if you're not a subscriber, definitely check that out. It's a lineup of some really, really awesome shows. Personally, I can selfishly say I already called this afternoon and renewed my season tickets because there were some little tweaks I needed to make. And I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and do that because I have time this afternoon. So definitely, if you haven't gotten that, feel free to check that out. They're still announcing their season. It's a great lineup that's coming. Something else to really just to be excited about and to get us ready for the next season. So on that note, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Allison. This is another personal favorite, an amazing, amazing show. I was the mysterious man in the junior version of this when I was in high school. So fun fact that no one ever needs to see photos of ever. So take it away, Allison.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a show I've done, I think, 6 times. And I've played Cinderella several times and Little Red Riding Hood several times. So somebody needs to do it so I can 2 more times so I can be the baker's wife and the witch. But here we go. This one's for all of you guys out there. This is what we're all feeling right now. This is for you guys. No one here to guide you. Now you're on your own. Only me beside you. Still you're not alone. No one is alone. Truly, no one is alone. Sometimes people leave you halfway through the wood. Others may deceive you You decide what's good, you decide alone, but no one is alone. People make mistakes, fathers, mothers, people make mistakes, holding to their own, thinking they're alone. Honor their mistakes, everybody makes one another's terrible mistakes. Witches can be right, giants can be good. You decide what's right, you decide what's good. Just remember, someone is on your side, someone else is not. While you're seeing your side, maybe you forgot. No one is alone. They are not alone. Hard to see the light now. Just don't let it go. Things will come out right now. We can make it so. Someone is on your side. No one is alone.
Wonderful job, Allison. Thank you so much. I'm going to pop you out, Allison, for just a second. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to be right back. So I think that's a really, really great message that Allison just shared with us in that song. It's hard to see the light right now, but we are not alone and no one is alone. And that's certainly the message of these songs that Allison shared with us today. Certainly what we're going through right now and what I am trying to kind of bring you with these concerts that we're doing on weekends. So as we wrap up week 2, we will be back for week 3 and beyond that. So I do just want to mention a couple things we have coming up starting on Thursday this week. We'll have Nick Culp and Lizzie Medlin in the house on Thursday night. On Friday night, we'll have Paul Leopard. On Saturday, we will have our trio of Allisons from Fun Home at Actors Theater that I worked on last year. All 3 of them, Allie Joseph, Amanda Ortega, and Lisa Hatt. You definitely don't want to miss that. And then on Sunday, we'll have 3 Bone Theater to talk about their company, their projects, as well as a special guest, Leslie Giles, who just did their show, Protective Custody. So certainly a lot to look forward to, including one non-musical episode, if you will, with 3 Bone Theater. So something a little different for us next week. So certainly I encourage you to tune in. If you missed part of today's broadcast, don't worry. They're all on Facebook. They stay on our Facebook page as well as on YouTube. You can check out all those links and also at our website, qcconcerts.com. So in our final minutes, I'm going to bring Allison and Adam back in one more time. Allison and Adam, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your Sunday afternoon with us today.
Thanks.
I really, really appreciate it. Any other final notes for us? Anything else we should be on the lookout for from Children's Theater or beyond before we go today?
Yeah, first of all, I also want to give a shout out to the Blumenthal. I mean, it was fantastic that they announced now. It kind of gives us hope. You know, they believe we'll be back by November. But, you know, if we will be putting up this coming weekend a viewing of The Invisible Boy. If anybody missed that, or if you have kids who missed it and want to see it, we'll be putting that up. We'll also be providing that as a resource for schools across the state as they're at home for field trips, so to speak, along with packaged lesson plans. But if you missed it, we're going to have a watch party next weekend, as well as the following weekend. And we'll be also putting out a few other of our favorites from the past with some talkbacks and things like that. So be on the lookout.
Awesome. We will definitely be on the lookout.
And Zach, thank you for doing this. This is amazing. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been my pleasure. I know that I certainly need to feel that creative void right now. So it's great to be able to connect with people from all over Charlotte, even from the distance of our own home. So thank you for being a part of it today.
Thank you.
So from all of us here, thanks so much for spending your Sunday afternoon with us. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.